Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The ceremony will begin shortly. Please take your seat, silence all electronic devices, and refrain from all flash photography during the ceremony. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our honored guests, members of the United States House of Representatives, members of the United States Senate, the former First Lady of the United States, the United States Secretary of State, and the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable John Boehner.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the United States Capitol. This is a great day for the American people, and we're grateful for all of you that are here with us today. Since the days of the American Revolution, the United States Congress has commissioned gold medals as the highest expression of appreciation for distinguished achievements. The first Congressional Gold Medal was awarded to General George Washington in 1776 for liberating the city of Boston. And today, in accordance with H.R. 4286, we'll present a Congressional Gold Medal to Aung San Suu Kyi in recognition of her efforts to liberate the people of Burma. Today, we celebrate Ms. Suu Kyi's steadfast commitment to democracy, civility, and human dignity, and we do so in a manner worthy of these ideals. After all, it was a House led by a Speaker from the Democrat Party, Nancy Pelosi, that initiated this measure awarding this medal, and a Republican President, George W. Bush, who signed it into law. His wife, former First Lady Laura Bush, is with us today, as is her predecessor, our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. Coming together in the spirit of mutual respect, steps from the chambers where we passionately debate the issues of the day, that's become almost second nature to us. But it is a blessing, and we'll hear over and over during the course of this ceremony, Ms. Suu Kyi is showing the world just how hard-won it really is. Ms. Suu Kyi, on behalf of the Congress, allow me to express how humbled and honored that we are by your presence here in the rotunda of the United States Capitol.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors by the United States Armed Forces Color Guard, the singing of our national anthem, and the retiring of the colors.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose for stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare that was bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Right shoulder, pull.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the Chaplain of the United States House of Representatives, the Reverend Patrick Conroy, gives the invocation.
Let us pray. God of the universe, we give you thanks for the gift of life and for the many blessings that life brings. Today we gather in this hallowed temple to representative government, dedicated to the enjoyment of life and its blessings by its citizens, to honor Aung San Suu Kyi. We are honored by her presence and her heroic witness to the dignity of each person, most especially in her native land of Burma. Her story is known to all, her example among the greatest of our time, of all time. We ask that as we come together to honor her, you bless our gathering. May we all be emboldened to give of our life energies, as she has done, to stand up for human freedom wherever it may be denied. And blessed her most noble of causes. Move the hearts of those who would deny freedom to her and to the people of Burma. May our actions today add to the universal outcry for justice and freedom, so that the blessings of life will burst forth for the citizens of Aung San Suu Kyi's native Burma. God, bless the nation of Burma and bless the United States of America. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the representative from the 7th District of New York, the Honorable Joseph Crowley.
Thank you, Speaker Boehner and Father Conroy. Thank you to all my House colleagues who are with us today, in particular Leader Pelosi, Whip Hoyer, Representative Don Manzullo, as well as the distinguished senators with us, including Leader McConnell, Senator Feinstein, and Senator McCain. Mrs. Bush and Madam Secretary, our thanks and appreciation to both of you for not only taking the time to be here today, but for your many contributions to this effort and your commitment to advancing the cause of freedom and democracy in Burma. I would be remiss if I did not also mention someone who is not with us here today, and that is Congressman Tom Lantos. Tom, his wife Annette, and his staff were mentors to me and all worked so hard on behalf of Burma for so many, many years. I wish he were here today to share this moment in history with us, because I think that he would agree. Today is an amazing day. Today is an incredible day. Who would have thought that when this bill was introduced in the House in 2008, when Aung Suu Kyi was still under house arrest, that in a few short years she would be standing or sitting here with us on U.S. soil receiving this honor and as a member of the Burmese Parliament. Back then, we thought about granting the medal in absentia, which may have been the first time a person would have received, in the history of the medal, would have received the Congressional Gold Medal while in detention. Who would have imagined that this change was possible? Who would have thought that this could happen? Well, let me tell you one who believed that it could come true, and that is Aung Suu Kyi herself. She might be too humble to admit it, but I know she always thought this day, this moment, would be possible. Not because she's someone who worries about awards or honors, because I can tell you she certainly does not. She believed it because she and the Burmese people always believed that change was possible. They hoped, they fought, they knew change must come to their country. She knew the Burmese people yearned for human rights and, most importantly, deserved democratic governance. She stoked the flames in a peaceful way for lasting change, even amongst those already in a position of power. Her efforts have helped lead us to where we are today. There's been a lot of advancement that has been made in Burma over the last 2 years, and we must recognize and give thanks to all those who have had the courage to help lead and support the changes in Burma, including those in the present government. But we also must honor and remember those who have made the great sacrifices, imprisonment, lives lost, to get to where we are today. Far too many have paid too high a price in the effort to bring about freedom and democratic governance in Burma. It is with those people in mind, those who have sacrificed so much, that we acknowledge the work that is not done yet. We must ensure that the momentum unfolds into sustained progress, into permanent freedoms, and into a solidified democracy. Because as much as I'd like to believe that the change in Burma that has occurred is irreversible, as much as I'd like to revel in blind optimism and believe that the battle for freedom was won, it is not yet. The tides of progress can reverse just as easily as they flow if we do not remain vigilant and demand further progress. But let there be no doubt, today is a moment of joy, a moment to honor a genuine hero or heroine, someone who has endured solitude, someone who has been forced to watch others struggle and to suffer, someone who has put country before herself, someone who has inspired millions of others to stand up for human rights and for justice, someone who has given voice to a movement, someone who has led with unwavering commitment. That person is Aung Suu Kyi, and we are so very proud to stand here and honor you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the representative from the 16th District of Illinois, the Honorable Donald Manzullo.
Mr. Speaker, leaders Rita McConnell, Secretary Clinton, Mrs. Bush, Daw Suu Kyi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my family. I come before you today to humbly welcome a legendary human rights champion, Aung Suu Kyi, to the United States Congress for a ceremony that many of us feared would never happen. I chair the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Asia and the Pacific, and when my good friend Joe Crowley and I worked together to pass the gold medal in 2008, Aung San Suu Kyi was serving her 13th year of house arrest, incarcerated for exercising freedom of speech and daring to challenge a military junta. Daw Suu Kyi, your presence here today is nothing short of a miracle. But patriots succeed because of miracles, and the sound of freedom can never be silenced. It is a testament to the incredible strength of your convictions and to the depth of your aspirations for Burma to achieve democracy. It means so much to me and all of your supporters that you've made the time to visit us during this momentous visit. Aung San Suu Kyi is someone who needs no introduction, because there really are no words that can adequately describe the sacrifice that this woman has endured for over 15 years. We all know the incredible story of her dedication and her love for her beloved homeland and its people. But underneath the public face, there is a daughter, a mother, a beloved companion who put everything she held dear on the line to fight injustice and oppression. There are no awards that can replace the time lost or erase the pain endured. But this time lost must not and will not be in vain. We must follow the example set by Daw Suu Kyi and continue to fight against oppression wherever it rears its ugly head. We gather today to praise not only her accomplishments, but to bring to light the anguish and suffering of all those around the world who continue to endure oppression. We must never forget that the geopolitical decisions made here in Washington have a real and lasting impact on individuals around the world. Daw Suu Kyi, on your landmark visit to the United States, let me congratulate you on making a tremendous difference in Burma and the rest of the world. You are a true inspiration for all of us. As the leader of the opposition, your responsibilities are significant, but in my opinion, there is nothing that you cannot accomplish. When you addressed the Subcommittee on Asia and the Pacific via video last year, I was overcome with emotion by your resolve and spirit. You asked the Congress to support Burma and her people, and I'm happy to report that we have not failed you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Senator from the state of California, the Honorable Dianne Feinstein.
Mr. Speaker, Leader Pelosi, Mrs. Bush, Leader Reid, Leader McConnell, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and my colleagues in government. This is a special day to honor a special person in a special place. For many years, I have followed the tragedies and victories of this uncommonly courageous and persistent woman. In 1988, she quickly rose to be the voice of democracy in Burma, creating the National League for Democracy. Elections followed in 1990, where her party won 80% of the seats. But that joy quickly turned to tragedy. The military junta nullified the election and arrested Aung San Suu Kyi. She would spend the better part of 2 decades under house arrest, unable even to visit her dying husband. In 1996, I recall Senator Bill Cohen approaching me, along with Senator McCain, to help sponsor a Burma sanctions bill. Sanctions were put in place in 1997 and only loosened in July of this year. Senator McConnell later became one of Aung San Suu Kyi's chief advocates in the Senate, and we continue to work on behalf of the people of Burma. In 2003, following an assassination attempt, Senator McConnell and I worked to pass an important ban that remains in place today, an effort to bring about further reform. And I must say, Burma is extremely lucky to have a champion like Aung San Suu Kyi. In the face of violence, intimidation, harassment, she has never wavered from her principles or ceased her push for democracy and human rights. She celebrates the release of political prisoners, including approximately 90 released this week. But she remains true to those who remain behind bars, a number estimated to be around 200. This woman sacrificed many years of her life to bring about these changes. She is truly an inspiration to the world. You are so well deserving of this Congressional Gold Medal. I can only begin to express my thrill and happiness that we are able to present this to you today in this special place, a very special woman. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Senator from the state of Arizona, the Honorable John McCain.
At my age, I try to be realistic about how many more times I'll be surprised by a wonderful and unexpected turn of events. I might have hoped, but I'm not sure I expected, that one day I would have the honor of welcoming my personal hero, Aung San Suu Kyi, to the Congress of the United States, that she would be able to travel abroad without fear of being barred from returning to the country that she loves and serves so well. I consider myself very fortunate to have lived to see this day and to know the people of Burma, whose dignity and rights Aung San Suu Kyi has sacrificed so much to defend and will one day be free to live with dignity and justice and hope. And it's a testament to the courage of the Burmese people and the person they call simply the lady, that day is approaching. I've known quite a few brave and inspiring people, but none more so than the woman we honor today. I first met her 15 years ago when she was permitted to leave her house briefly to speak with me at the residence of the U.S. Charge in Rangoon. I was not prepared for her. She was exquisitely polite and graceful. She spoke softly and calmly, the picture of gentleness and serenity. Is this the woman, I asked myself, who has managed somehow to cause so much trouble for the powerful, violent, cruel men who unlawfully ruled her country, men who are so befuddled by the implacable resistance offered by this one gentle lady? They had attacked her, jailed her, threatened her, isolated her, kept her family from her. They'd done all that, done all that could be done to break her spirit and her will to resist. But as a Union soldier once noted about U.S. Grant as he sat on his horse placidly while shells exploded around him, Aung San Suu Kyi didn't scare worth a damn. It's not power that corrupts, she said, but fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it, and fear of the scourge of power corrupts those who are subject to it. Aung San Suu Kyi would not be afraid. And that, my friends, is the most powerful resistance human beings are capable of. I want to thank you, my friend. I want to thank you, my friend, the lady, for teaching me at my age a thing or two about courage and for reminding me to always expect justice to triumph over injustice, goodness over evil, love over hate.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former First Lady of the United States, Mrs. Laura Bush.
I want to thank the United States Congress for allowing me to add my voice to the global chorus of honors for Aung San Suu Kyi and to send along the deep respect of my husband George as well. The transition in Burma, like past events in South Africa or Eastern Europe, shows that history has a hopeful direction. It's capable of miracles. There's a part of every soul that longs for freedom, and any government built on oppression is built on sand. But as Mandela and Havel demonstrated, vast historical changes often begin in a single mind, a single heart. And the hope that now grows in Burma is a tribute to DASSK. One of the most repressive governments on earth attempted to isolate and silence one woman. It must have seemed an easy task. Instead, the regime encountered an immovable object, and its legitimacy broke against her character. DASSK became a symbol of courage, perseverance, and defiance, a symbol that integrity was still possible in Burma, and the symbol became an inspiration for activists, monks, and millions around the world. When her long isolation ended, some of us have finally met DASSK in person and found not a symbol, but a woman of tremendous humor, honesty, and grace. And that's only increased our admiration. When political prisoners are freed and normal political life revives, it's the start of new tasks. Burma has needed DASSK's courage and patience. Now, it needs her wisdom and leadership in the work of reform and reconciliation. Her contribution to Burma is decades old and just beginning. Today, our country honors an exceptional woman who became the mother of her country, and we pledge our support in the work ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic leader of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Nancy Pelosi.
It is an historic opportunity to be here today with Aung San Suu Kyi as she is awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest honor Congress can bestow. I join my colleagues, including the leader of this effort in the House, Congressman Crowley, in thanking Aung San Suu Kyi for her unwavering commitment to peace, nonviolence, and democracy in Burma. I associate myself with his remarks in praise of our former colleague, Chairman Tom Lantos, and his family's efforts on behalf of this occasion today. It is appropriate to honor also, as we honor Aung San Suu Kyi, the many Burmese democracy supporters, many from California, Senator Feinstein, who are with us here today. We take this opportunity to remember those who have suffered so much, including the Burmese students, National League of Democracy Party members, and other supporters who fought for democracy in 1988. Members of the Burmese Parliament in exile who have worked tirelessly from abroad. The Buddhist monks who courageously rose up in the Saffron Revolution in 2007, and the internally displaced and ethnic minorities who have endured so much poverty and conflict. Today, as we bestow the Congressional Gold Medal on Aung San Suu Kyi, we honor them all with this ceremony in the rotunda of the United States Capitol. It doesn't seem so long ago, and it wasn't, that women leaders and members of Congress gathered to honor Aung San Suu Kyi on her 50th birthday. She could not be with us that day, but Secretary Albright was a Secretary of State, and she is with us today, and we're so honored. We all agreed that day as we sang Happy Birthday so loudly that we thought that you could hear us. And it was important that you know how well we wished you, but we also wanted the rulers in Burma to know how strongly we felt about you, as well as how hard we were willing to fight for you. I know Mr. Speaker, I know that I can say I speak for all here today when I say that our hearts are full of joy to celebrate Aung San Suu Kyi's leadership in her presence. It is indeed an honor to be in her presence. Her presence here today is remarkable. When we passed the gold medal legislation in 2008, as was said, it was thought maybe it would be given in absentia, but Aung San Suu Kyi knew better. She knew that if we waited a bit, we could celebrate in this way. It is a symbol of the progress in Burma. It is a sign of the bond between her and the United States. More than 15 years ago, she said to the world, "Please use your liberty to promote ours." With sanctions and boycotts, with rallies and legislation, and with direct dialogue and engagement, we did. The Obama administration and Secretary Clinton are to be commended for their policy of engagement that has produced real progress on the long road toward democracy. What an honor for us that the Secretary is here. What a great honor it is for us that Mrs. Bush is here bringing the greetings of President Bush. The United States has stood and stands with the freedom-seeking people of Burma in their just cause. I'm proud to say that Northern California is home to the largest Burmese population in the nation. The New Yorkers think they may be. We're not competitive around here. San Francisco has been a leader in promoting democracy for Burma and for supporting Aung San Suu Kyi. Buddhism and its nonviolent tradition has been a source of strength for that democracy movement in Burma. Though Aung San Suu Kyi has seen her supporters beaten, tortured, and killed, she has never responded with hatred and violence. She has asked only for peaceful dialogue and progress toward democracy. She has always believed that the need for democracy for all the people of Burma was more important than her personal needs. Indeed, she made great personal sacrifices in terms of her own family, as Senator Feinstein pointed out. One admirer described her as a seeker, a soul pilgrim, one who makes her life a vehicle for an awakening to deeper and greater truths. Aung San Suu Kyi walks in the footsteps of her beloved father, Aung San, and the giants of history. For her personal sacrifice, for her inner strength, for her love of Burma and its people, and for being an example of strength and courage to the world, today we are proud to honor her with the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest honor Congress can bestow. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican leader of the United States Senate, the Honorable Mitch McConnell.
Over the years, we've recognized many remarkable men and women in this place of honor, all of them extraordinary. It would be foolish to try to make comparisons among them. Yet for me at least, today's ceremony is particularly meaningful. I first came to know of the woman we honor today more than 2 decades ago. I came across an article that told the story of her struggle. And from that moment on, I felt compelled in my own small way to make that cause my own. It was impossible not to be moved by her quiet resolve, her hidden, luminous heroism, and it's impossible today, all these years later, not to be moved by the thought that this most unlikely of revolutionaries may yet witness the deepest longing of her heart. A representative, democratic system in which the people of Burma are finally able to fully enjoy their God-given rights. It is in this hope that we stand today with the people of Burma and with Aung San Suu Kyi, knowing that whatever the future holds, she will fight unflinchingly to the end. Here in this place, surrounded by the statues of our own national heroes of independence and equality, we draw new inspiration from this courageous woman from a distant land. She reminds us that the freedoms we enjoy are not just our birthright as Americans. They are the aspiration of all men and women. And defending them will always require the kind of courage she has shown throughout her long and difficult struggle for the people of Burma. There are many examples of that courage, but I think my favorite took place on August 26, 1988. Suu Kyi was about to make her very public debut with a speech to more than 500,000 people at the Swetagon Pagoda, and someone asked her, did she want to wear a bulletproof vest? Why? She answered, if I was afraid of being killed, I would never speak out against the government. It's easy to throw flaming bottles from a passing car or from behind a mask. It's easy to spray bullets from a tank at an unarmed mob. The woman we honor today chose a far more difficult path, the path of Gandhi, the path of Dr. Martin Luther King, the arduous path of idealism, peaceful resistance, civil disobedience, of voluntary renunciation for the sake of future generations she would never know. The path of hope. It was not the life she wanted, but it was, she knew, her calling. And she has been faithful. We are honored today to stand with you, my friend, for the noble cause that you embody.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Majority Leader of the United States Senate, the Honorable Harry Reid.
Today, the people of Burma and the United States honor Aung San Suu Kyi for her personal sacrifice and her dedication to spreading freedom and justice, not only in Burma, but the world. Even when it meant separation from her family, when it meant being apart from her husband at the hour of his death, Suu Kyi has remained true to her cause. Today, I also recognize my colleague, Republican leader, Mitch McConnell. I have stood next to him on the Senate floor now for a long time, and there's no cause for which he has been more pronounced than doing something about Suu Kyi and Burma. I extend my congratulations, my admiration, and I applaud him for his good work. He's been a long-standing advocate, leading the United States to focus on Burma and what was wrong there with the ruling junta. He co-sponsored the economic sanctions bill that helped pressure the Burmese regime toward freedom. Sometimes people think it's hard for two parties in Congress to find common ground, and lots of times it is. But I'm pleased where Burma policy is concerned. There's been no split between Democrats and Republicans. I'm grateful to Senator McConnell for his leadership on this issue, not just for the last few days, last week, few months, but for 2 decades. I also commend Secretary Hillary Clinton and the many Foreign Service and security officers who dedicate their time and talents to the cause of liberty and democracy abroad. As we tragically saw last week, State Department personnel often put their very lives on the line as they work to spread American values around the globe. So as we honor Suu Kyi today, I hope we'll also express our gratitude to all those who support the quest for peace. Due to Suu Kyi's leadership and sacrifice, Burma has made strides this year toward freedom for all its people. But there's more work to be done, and she will tell you that. More work to be done to ensure that no one in Burma need live in fear of political oppression or ethnic violence. Elections are an important step toward that goal. Suu Kyi's release from house arrest and subsequent election in Parliament is another. But as Suu Kyi has said, and I quote, "One prisoner of conscience is too many," close quote. And until the Burmese people live under a fully democratic government that is transparent and respects the rule of law, we must continue to push for reform. As Suu Kyi said in Oslo as she accepted the Nobel Peace Prize, again I quote, "The peace of our world is indivisible. As long as negative forces are getting the better of forces anywhere, we're all at risk." Close quote. So every citizen of the world, including those who live in the freest and safest conditions, owes a debt of gratitude to the brave and selfless souls who put their lives on the line for democracy and freedom. There's no better example of that than the guest we have here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the United States Secretary of State, the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton.
"17 years ago, as we were in Beijing on behalf of the UN conference concerning the rights of women, we thought about many of the women around the world who could not be with us, but whose presence was a strong message of the values that we were promoting, values that were not just American values, but universal values. Madeleine Albright left that conference in Beijing, taking with her a poster signed by all the Americans and a few others who we gave the opportunity to sign, to take that poster to Burma to give to Aung San Suu Kyi, to let her know once again that there were many of us around the world supporting her in her cause, remembering her personally. When I was a member of the Senate and privileged to vote for the bill that we now see come to fruition in 2008, I never imagined that a year later I would be Secretary of State. But I was so pleased to have the opportunity to work with my colleagues, my former colleagues, in thinking about a new approach that the United States might take to try to see if there were any way to help move a transition forward, not only in honor of and furtherance of Aung San Suu Kyi's life's work, but for the people of Burma. I reached out to Joe Crowley and Congressman Manzullo and my friends Dianne Feinstein, John McCain, and Mitch McConnell. I went to see Senator McConnell in his office. I said, Mitch, what do you think about seeing whether there is any opening whatsoever? And I was so pleased when he said, well, let's give it a try. Let's be careful. Let's proceed judiciously. On the way out of his office, he stopped and showed me a letter from Suu Kyi to him. We knew that at some point, change would have to come, but whether it would be a year, a decade, or longer, no one could predict. But very carefully and close consultation with the Congress, we began sending Assistant Secretary Campbell and then now Ambassador Derek Mitchell in the position created by the Congress of Special Envoy. Listening, probing, seeing whether there was something happening. And slowly, change started. And of course, when the House arrest was finally lifted, and the voice of this remarkable woman could be heard more broadly, we knew that the United States had to be not only supporting the change, but carefully nurturing it to ensure that it did not end up being hijacked, detoured. Today we are joined by a representative from the President of Burma, and we welcome Aung Min. We are joined by the new ambassador from Burma, Than Sui, and we are joined not only by a fearless champion of human rights and democracy, but a member of Parliament. It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend, that you are here in the rotunda of our great capital, the centerpiece of our democracy, as an elected member of your parliament. And as Leader Pelosi, the leader of the political opposition, the leader of a political party. I am so deeply moved by what she has stood for and what she has represented, first and foremost for the people of her country, but for people everywhere who yearn for freedom, whose voices deserve to be heard. But I am also very impressed that she was not satisfied upon the release from house arrest to remain an advocate, a symbol, an icon. In many ways, that would have been the easiest path to take. Because if anyone understands how difficult politics is anywhere in the world, it is all of us in this chamber today. The to and fro of making decisions, of compromise, of reaching agreement with people that you don't agree with, and in her case, people who were her former jailers, is a great testament to her courage and fortitude and understanding of what Burma needs now. Last December, I had the great honor of visiting with her in the house by the lake where she was confined for many years. As we walked around that house and through the rooms, I remembered another visit I had made years before with Nelson Mandela, showing me his prison cell on Robben Island. These two political prisoners were separated by great distances, but they were both marked by uncommon grace, generosity of spirit, and unshakable will. And they both understood something that I think we all have to grasp. The day they walked out of prison, the day the house arrest was ended, was not the end of the struggle. It was the beginning of a new phase. Overcoming the past, healing a wounded country, building a democracy would require moving from icon to politician. In a time when politics and politicians are sometimes the objects of criticism and even disdain, it is well for us to remember people fight and die for the right to exercise politics, to be part of a democracy, to make decisions peacefully without resorting to the gun. That work of building democracy never ends, not here in the seat of the oldest democracy in the world, or in a country like Burma and its new capital of Naypyidaw, where the Speaker of the lower house, where Suu Kyi now serves, said to me, "Help us learn how to be a democratic Congress, a parliament." He went on to tell me that they were trying to teach themselves by watching old segments of the West Wing. I said, I think we can do better than that, Mr. Speaker. So as we honor her, a time that many of us feared would never happen, it's good to recognize that one phase of her work may be over, but another phase, equally important, is just beginning. And that the United States will stand with her, with the President of Burma and those who are reformers in the executive branch and the legislative branch, with the activists, with civil society, as they fan the flickers of democratic progress and press forward with reform. And we wish them all Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable John Boehner.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me say thank you all for your presence here in the Capitol Rotunda today. Let me also thank Secretary Clinton and Mrs. Bush for joining us, and thank my colleagues in the leadership on both sides of the Capitol for their work in bringing us all together. and my colleagues who sponsored the resolution, thank you. But one leader in particular I think deserves recognition for his extraordinary devotion to this cause. And that, of course, is my good friend, Senator Mitch McConnell. In a few moments, we'll present Ms. Suu Kyi with the Congressional Gold Medal. And what a moment it'll be for the woman whose name means strange collection of bright victories. Nearly a quarter of a century ago, Ms. Suu Kyi invited her countrymen to fulfill her father's call to make democracy the popular creed. And today, because of the sacrifices of she and her supporters, that invitation still stands. A bright victory indeed, and one that we'll celebrate today. And as we do, we can look ahead with a renewed sense of purpose. We can present this medal not only as a symbol of our highest honors, but also of our highest hopes, and for the hard work that lies ahead. Because freedom isn't easy to find. It takes a long, winding road. Shortcuts are few and setbacks are many. And America has known its fair share. But so long as the search party is led by men and women who refuse to give in to fear or doubt, or who refuse to give up their identity, their dignity, and their sense of mission, that gleam in their eye, we'll still get there. For all we have of freedom, Rudyard Kipling, one of Sue's favorite authors, once wrote, all we use or know, this is our fathers bought for us long, long ago. That gleam in her father's eye still lights the lady's difficult and often lonely path. And with this gold medal, the American people hang a lantern for her. May it serve as a high and shining beacon of our commitment to a future of good health and bright victories. Thank you all very much.
To suffer over the past decades. These ties will be strengthened as we work together to achieve our common goals. How privileged I am to be here with you today, but there are many who are not enjoying this privilege yet. And these are the people we need to remember, not just those in my country, but everywhere else in the world where freedom is yet a dream. I believe I speak not just for myself, but for many of my colleagues and for my people when I say, may today be an augury of many days and years of hope and joy to come for the peoples of the United States and Burma and other peoples the world over who are united in the desire for harmony, security, and liberty. It has always been my opinion that democracy offers the best balance between freedom and security for all of us. To be a whole human being, we need both security and freedom. Without security, we cannot rest in the peace necessary to discover the world to be the beautiful place that it can be. Without freedom also, we will be deprived of the many opportunities that would make us more human and more humane. For this reason, I've always adhered to the principles and values of democracy. No doubt it is not perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect system invented by we human beings who are so riddled with imperfection. And yet, in spite of the imperfections, democracy still remains a beacon of hope for all of us. We have been united, we from many parts of the world, by our belief, by our confidence in democracy. As I go forward with my countrymen and women along the difficult path of building a truly democratic society where all our people can live together in peace, remembering always that Burma is a nation of many ethnic nationalities and peoples. We believe that we can go forward in unity and in peace and give our friends the satisfaction of helping us to get to the place where all peoples wish to get to, the place where dreams are realized. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chaplain of the United States Senate, Dr. Barry Black, for the benediction.
Let us pray. God, whose glory fills the skies, triumph o'er the shades of night. Lord, thank you for this Congressional Gold Medal ceremony and the opportunity we have had to honor a woman of excellence, Aung Suu Kyi. We praise you for her passion for freedom, for her willingness to sacrifice for truth, and for her courage to cling to her convictions. May her compassion, courage, and competence challenge us when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams come true simply because we have dreamed too little. May her sacrifice, daring, and persistence inspire us to rise to the challenge of the needs of our world and to do it by making new commitments followed by faithful service to you and humankind. Lord, make us strong in your strength and lead us into a future fueled by faith, focus, and fortitude. We pray in your sovereign name. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats for the departure of the official party.
We'll follow you all out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. Thank you for attending.